Hey folks, Matt Sharp here with another Pacific Angler Friday Fishing Report. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, whatever you are celebrating. We're filming for the middle of December, so if it's nowhere near the middle of December, click up here. This is a link to all the Friday Fishing Reports. We do it most weeks, so I should have something more up to date for you. I got a big week for you, and it's kind of ironic because the go fishing sign is totally broken, and I absolutely don't recommend go fishing this week. We've got some very interesting weather coming down the pipe. It's got snow, it's got rain, it's really cold, but the silver lining there is that rolling into the Boxing Week time frame, we could have some good weather. If the weatherman is on his game and what he is telling us is coming, it could be well worth getting out for some early steelheading, and the reports we've heard are positive. It also might be pretty decent for getting out winter Chinook fishing. The boys, Jake, Jason, everybody's been out and the fishing's good. We have some updates this week on prawning. If you're going to prawn this winter, tune into this report. So there's some changes that are happening right now, as well as some changes that comes May 1st that you'll want to stay tuned for. Now, we also have a bunch of industry news, some cool industry news. First one is there are some amazing deals still in the Steelhead Society auction. We've got flies, we've got jigs, we've got spinners and spoons, which I'm gonna bid on and I shouldn't tell you guys about because they're really well priced and I love fishing them. There's also some cool historical fishing gear that is really interesting and really a part of British Columbia fishing. A few days left in the auction, so make sure you stay tuned. I'm gonna leave links up here, links down in the description. Click on that right now. I don't care if you stop watching the rest of this video. Go in there, throw some money at it. It goes to a great cause, the Steelhead Society. But there's also some cool gear to be had. Fishing with Rod has a fun one for us. He wants your best 12 2022 fishing stories. I love this competition. We've put a gift card, a $100 gift card towards it. Sea Run has done it, High Water has done it, Fred's has done it. I think there's a bunch of other guys that have thrown really cool prizes in for your best fishing story of 2022. So if you have one, share it. I know Rod would love to see that. On that line, we want to see your best pictures. I love fishing pictures. They make me happy, but I want to see your best fishing pictures from 2022. We've got a bunch of new categories. Back in the day, we started this because it was during the pandemic and we were all depressed and we just wanted to see some cool pictures to cheer ourselves up. Started off with a handful of pictures. Last year, we had like 800 or 900 pictures put in. I want to see more this year, and I want to see the coolest pictures you have from your fishing experiences in 2022. And so I've got a best of kids, so anyone under 16, you got a cool fishing picture, share it with me, get your parents' permission. I've got the best scenery shot, I've got the best fish shot, and I've got a best overall shot. $50 gift certificates to all of the ones in the beginning, and then the best overall shot gets $150 gift certificates, so that's a pretty cool prize to be spent at the shop. I'm going to share some of them up here for you from the previous winners, some amazing fishing moments caught on film. Okay. Now, we are going to talk some product this week, and I don't usually talk product because my rule is if I ain't gonna buy it, I ain't gonna talk about it. And I've got actually 3 cool things that came into the shop this week, and I ain't gonna put on Santa hat. I think they're really cool. I'm gonna consider them. I've got one for the tiny boat / small boat nation. It's a cool way to organize your small boat. It's from Scotty. I'm gonna talk about it in a sec. I've also got another one for you fly tyers. If you want to get into fly tying or you want to get a friend into fly tying, there's never been a really good kit. They've all been kind of crappy. Shore has a really cool one. I'm going to talk you guys through what's in it because I think it's a perfect kit to get someone into fly tying, and I haven't seen this before. The last one is pretty cool. I've got these guys. Now, for the indicator guys out there that are hardcore, they probably already know what I'm holding up here, but they know that we haven't been able to get them in Canada for a really long time. These are the new Oros indicators. They are super cool. I'm going to talk about them a bunch. We have them in the store right now in a couple of different sizes. You'll want to stay tuned for that. On the written side of things, I got some good stuff in the written report this week as well. The boys, I tasked them with giving me water levels for the Chilliwack for this season. AKA, they're gonna sit down, look at the crystal ball and say, what is high, what is low, what is perfect? When do you guys and girls need to get out steelheading? Because planning river levels is hypercritical when you get out of the water. If you're planning on going steelhead fishing or heck throughout the season, these water levels are just going to sort of set a benchmark, and ones we can all tune in on. We want your input. If we think we're a little bit off, we want to hear about it, but it's going to be very useful if you plan to get on the Chilliwack River for steelhead fishing this year. Finally, we're going to talk about courses, and we're going to talk about flies. So last week we released a video on the Game Changer fly. This is a really cool streamer pattern, and a streamer pattern that comes out of the States. You might have seen the book. There's a book on these style of patterns. It's really revolutionized streamer fishing in the States, and we have Wiley at the shop. He's our US transplant. He's lived in Montana, lived in a bunch of areas that are sort of meccas of fly fishing down in the States. And he ties this pattern, something he used a lot. And I think we are missing the boat in coastal / British Columbia streamer fishing. And I've got a couple courses coming out this year. One on indicator fishing, this stuff. I'm definitely gonna be testing this in that course. But we're also gonna be doing a streamer course where we try to geek out a little bit and maybe elevate the level of the British Columbia streamer fishermen, because we have amazing rivers to streamer fish on in the spring, be it for cutthroat, be it for bull trout, a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm going to be having that one. We've announced our courses for 2023. There's a bunch of cool ones. Eric's doing our salmon courses. Wiley's got some fly tying courses. Jordan's got some fly tying courses. Taylor and Gavin both have float fishing courses, so you want to check that out. If you want to get a course for you, or you're worried about your relative giving you a bad Christmas gift, tell them to get you a course. Again, links in the description. It's all on our website. Details are there. All right, a lot of stuff to cover. I got one more. I want to remind everyone about our Boxing Week sale. This is our biggest sale of the year, and there's gonna be some doozies this year. If you're looking for waders, you're looking for boots, you're looking for just gear in general, we're gonna be blowing out a bunch of stuff because we might be a little overstocked here and there, and I definitely wanna stay tuned. So if you wanna see more reports like this, consider hitting the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let's get into it. All right, everybody, cheers to holidays, cheers to Christmas. Thanks for tuning in with me. I want to talk about some of the cool products first, and this is not a shameless sales pitch for Christmas. I'm not putting on my Santa hat. I've got some cool stuff in the store right now, which is new, hard to get, and I think bloody cool, and I'm going to buy it. So the first one, and the one that I think all you lake fishermen as well as some saltwater anglers are going to be pumped on, is the new Scotty Tool Caddy. This thing's really well thought out. You know, back in the day they'd have tool caddies and they just wouldn't really make sense. This one is literally designed for your cell phone, to pop your cell phone in. For those guys that out there have a sounder that may be linked to a cell phone, or heck, there's not even a screen and it's just like a drop-in sounder goes to your cell phone. This could be your screen. Perfect place to put your cell phone, as well as all the gear. Great for lake fishermen. I'm going to set it up on our lake boat for my essential lake fishing stuff. You know, my stomach pump, my floatant. Yes, I use floatant when I'm chronoman fishing because I like to put it on my line. You know, forceps, nippers, pair of pliers, all the essentials, have it there ready to go. It's easy to get to. It's not sliding around on seats where I sit on them. And for the saltwater guy who has a boat that's maybe a little bit smaller, this thing's going to be awesome. Check them out. We've got them in stock in the store. This is a brand new item that's only come out in the last week or two. The next thing I want you guys and girls to take a look at is kind of a Christmas gift, but it's really cool. So you ever had that friend who was like, I really want to get into fly tying, and they just never did? Or heck, they got in and they bought all the wrong stuff, or they just bought weird stuff that didn't make sense and they had to rebuy it all. Shore has come out with some kits that I think are the best kits I've ever seen. So if you're thinking about getting into fly tying, you got buddies thinking about getting into fly tying, I can finally endorse these kits. Back in the day, we'd have kits that would be like, get into fly fishing, and it would be all the wrong materials, all the wrong tools for our fisheries. I mean, sure, it might have been good for guys in Montana or Florida or wherever the heck it was, but not good for us. And these kits have been tailor-made to have patterns that are applicable to where we need to be. The materials are really high quality, and though the gear is cost effective to make these not crazy expensive, they're really decent quality and are gonna last decades. So check those out. Now, last one on the gear list, and this one's I'm really pumped about. And let me see if I've got more of them here. I think, yeah, I've got them in here. I've got a few kicking around on my desk that I've already been playing with. So you guys and girls know that I love indicator fishing. Not because I don't love dry fly fishing, but because for about 7 months out of the year, I have no hope to dry fly fish. Find that on our coastal streams, there's times when there's no way to reach where the fish are. With a check nymph, fish aren't going to rise to a dry fly. What does that mean? You break out the indicator. Now, historically, this was the king of the hill. And this guy's awesome. This is the airlock. I still think this is one of the best indicators. Before it was a thingamabobber, before that was a chunk of foam. But when it comes to river fishing, we need something that's not going to sink, that's going to stay floating, and is not going to tangle our line. And the problem with these guys was that this cool head that's really awesome, let me see if I can get that in focus there. This head, just the way the line would go through it, would constantly catch around on your leader. But someone got smart, and I've been watching this for about a year, and here's an indicator. I'll show you guys this. This is the Oros indicator, and this is what makes it cool. I don't know if you guys can see this, but I'm going to unscrew it, and the connection device, and it's bloody identical to the airlock, is just inside the indicator. So what does that mean? Well, when we stick it in a line, there's nowhere for the line to catch on. I'm super pumped on these. I think they're going to make my life about 20% better when I'm fishing, because I have tangles around these indicators quite a bit. But when I'm out guiding and I see everybody else fishing, they have lots of tangle around these indicators. And having the ability to have this all in line without kinking your leader, I think are a game changer. They come in 3 different sizes. They've got the small one. I think you'd throw that for the Skagit, you know, softer water where maybe you're not as scared of big currents sucking things down. We've got the medium one right there. I think this is going to be the go-to. This is what I'm going to try fishing the most. And then there is an extra large. We've got them in stock at the store. I give it about 90% chance this is going to be my go-to indicator for the bead fishing / egg eater fishing all through January, February, and then throw it into the spring / summer when I'm nymphing with stoneflies, mayflies, that kind of thing on Thompson, Skagit, Birkenhead. This is going to be the guy I pull out of the box. Okay, product aside, let's talk a little bit about prawning and what's going on there. So Taylor sent me a bunch of the info. I've just got to pull it up on the phone. Bear with me. I sent him on a mission to pull this up for me, and I'm going to see if I can throw it up here. Yeah, and this is basically it. He's outlined exactly where we're not going to be able to fish, and that's coming down the pipe. I'm going to put links to all the timing for that because I don't want to get into it here. But basically everything around Bowen Island to Gibson's to Point Atkinson and then north is going to be closed for prawning. We were really scared about this when we saw it. We thought it might be a blanket regulation that's going to affect us for years to come. But I've been told that this is a yearly cycle that they're trying to help certain stocks of prawns give a chance to recover. And so if that is the case, I support it. It's going to suck. It means there's many places we can't prawn this year. But if they pull that back and then the prawning's excellent the next year and we maybe get another decade of no restrictions, I don't have a problem with it. If they make this the norm, if they make this a cycled thing where they just continue to limit access to these resources, then you're going to hear about it from me. I will save the rant for now. But at least from what I've heard of the folks that understand this fishery, and I don't, that this is okay. It's not good. It's going to affect us this year, but we can still prawn off the south end of Bowen, and there's some areas up into 28-3 and 28-4 where we can still prawn if you're up the House Sound Way. And I will tune in with you if I feel that something is happening with this, that this could be a blanket non-ending restriction. But everything that I've been told is that it is a conservation measure that cycles throughout the province. And I don't know if anyone's up north have ever experienced this, where they close a given area for 1 year just to allow the stock to sort of take a break. I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to hear how it went. Was the prawning amazing at the end of it? How did they change those regulations back to allow access to the fishery? It's a cool one and an important one. So take note of that. Now, the other thing on the prawning front for you saltwater anglers is they're changing the buoy size / description when it comes to prawning or crabbing. This is coming into effect next year when your license comes in, but heck, if you're buying a prawn setup right now, you're going to have round floats when it comes to prawning, and you can have the buoy style floats, the sort of cylindrical ones when you're crabbing. Again, I'm going to leave links down in the description. I want you to read that. Don't take my word exactly for it, but I want you to take note of it. Okay, river fishermen, we're coming up on steelhead season. A couple things I wanted to touch on the steelhead front. So we talked about Taylor and Gavin and Eric looking at water levels and giving us some general ideas of what to go off. We've already heard of the first fish weighed into the Derby out in Chilliwack. That's good news. That's pretty early. One fish is not enough to make any assumptions off, but water levels are, and the boys are going to talk about that in detail. They're going to look at this graph that I'm seeing here and show you where they like to fish, where they consider it worthwhile getting out. But this is what we need to look for if you plan to get out in the next little bit. Now, if you're planning to get out next week, it does not look good. If you're planning to get out for boxing week, it's not perfect, but we can cross our fingers that it might be some pretty good conditions. And so what's happening is we're going to see a massive drop in temperature come over the weekend into next week. And I'm seeing like -10s at night, at least on the 14-day trend. And we all know the weatherman gets it wrong sometimes, but if what he is telling us is true, this is going to be a cold one. And I'll be straight up, there's not going to be a lot of egging. If you want to get out on Christmas Eve or get out in that cold weather like this, is tough fishing. But flip it around, things start warming up Thursday, Friday, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, come Christmas Day. Things are getting back into seasonal norms, and they look like they warm up 26th, 27th, 28th. If that comes down the pipe, if anyone's planning on getting out for a derby, that looks cool. There's also rain in that horizon, which we want to see raise up river levels. If you read that report, you're going to see that where we're at is very, very low and probably too low for ideal fishing right now. But this looks good, so maybe plan something if you've got a few days off after Christmas. It's not a bad time to get out scouting for bull trout. And if the Squamish gets a big bump of water, which I don't think it will, but it might, it's go time for egg fishing up that way. They haven't seen a lot of water. There's a lot of eggs up in that system still that haven't been washed out, and there's going to be hungry bull trout right now. If we get the second we get a bump of water coming down, I bet that fishery is going to go off, and I am definitely going if I've got a day off when I see a bump in water. All right, folks, that's everything I've got for you. Get in on that photo competition. I want to see your cool pictures. Link down in the description. Get in on Fishing with Rods competition. And I've got some videos up here that are sort of related to fisheries that we got coming up. We got some egging stuff. We got some steelhead stuff. Check it out. And I'm going to catch you guys in 2 weeks because the Boxing Day sale is coming and it's going to be big.